Welcome, everyone. Hey, I'm going to play a little sentimental tune for you today and then play it a little more slowly and go over some of the nuances. This is a tune from quite a few years ago that was called A Letter to Peter Pan. And I'm going sentimental because it's been quite a week. My husband got COVID last Saturday. We had, of course, the passing of the great Seamus Bagley this week. Funny enough, we were talking about polkas just recently, but there you go. And and a couple of other things, but I won't go on. We all have our own things, but it's put me in a sentimental mood, and thought I would just play this one for you. I'll tell you about it after. So again, this tune is called A Letter to Peter Pan, and it's called that because my old buddy, Ralph Flores, had asked me about maybe doing some music behind a spot in a play that he was doing, which I think was called The Road to Graceland. And the actors in this show were all telling personal stories. And one of the folks that was in the play was telling about being so enamored of Peter Pan when it appeared on television in the States so many years ago with Mary Martin in the lead, and how delighted and enamored she was of Mary Martin, and actually wrote her a letter. And so given the chance to write something behind this, well, of course, it was, as you can imagine, very sentimental. And so I put me, the tune writer, to make it kind of a sentimental tune. And I think it ended up being that. And the first part is in 3/4 time. And so we're kind of going da 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 1 2 3 and 1 2 3 and 1 2, and like that. And the second part, of course, is in the same timing, but I got to be a little bit more lift in it. Now, funny enough, I think there were two things at work. One is that, of course, Peter Pan and Mary Martin in that role was flitting around. And so the timing of these notes, there was a lot more flip in the notes, as you could probably tell as you listened. But it had a little bit more of a Scottish feel to it, or a little bit of that Scottish snap, or as I call it, the didda. And of course, Peter Pan was written by, is it J.M. Barrie? Barrie being Barrie, and he was from Scotland. So I don't think I knew that at the time, but somehow this tune, in a lot of ways, has a Scottish feel to it. And again, I thought it went with the character of Peter Pan. And so there's a lot of fun little spots in it. So I'm just going to take you slowly through it, and maybe it'll be a little sentimental tune that you might like to have in your back pocket, and also maybe an inspiration to write a tune for either something sentimental or even a childhood story. And here we go. So I'd be stopping as I go along. As you could tell, it's not difficult to play, and there is one little shift that I do, which I guess I didn't really need to do, but I'll show you that, and show you a little bit about chords, double stops on the fiddle, and how they can enhance what you're hearing as you write a tune. So here we go. So the first phrase of the tune . And I'm really hearing kind of a fifth that's going on there. Well, maybe not right here. Well, it's kind of all based on this, though. So I'll say that out loud. It's kind of all based on that kind of a sound. I can almost sing along to that, and I won't. So here we go. So as long as you hear what I'm talking about there, I think that those are going to be nice double stops, which I'll play and add a little bit later. So the first phrase again. Then I go into a different kind of a. So the two of those phrases together are. And the next part goes. So slowly it's. But interestingly, when I get to that note, I have about maybe, I think it's 3 or 4 different ways of handling the next phrase, which goes to a B, which goes to a C, which goes to a G. So there's these 3 notes that begin the next phrase, and the phrase with those notes is, well, this is like the upbeat. So again, that's an upbeat. But as time went by, I started to learn that there was different ways of doing that spot. So just in case that's difficult and to do that stretch, I think when I played this tune earlier, I was skipping up to the third position with my second finger. So I was going second finger on the E string. And then I was coming down with my second finger. I won't go back over that. That was pretty slidey. But anyway. Another way of getting there is that I can go. So now I've played that D with my first finger. So now I'm in third position, and then I go and go crossover with my second finger down to the G. So again. And I'm being very tiptoey through all of that because it's not easy. And yeah, I don't do a lot of changing positions, being the Irish fiddle player. So there's not a lot of chances to practice. Should practice more. But just doing both of those. So one was, well, three now. So you can go fourth, fourth, second, or you can go second, third, second. And the next one is also that, but you're climbing up to that position one note earlier, the last note of the last phrase. And interestingly, you could also go, and instead of going down with the second finger, you could actually cross over with your fourth. I have a feeling there's probably other ways of using even second position to get this. Why do I think that? But I think that. So yeah, so this is an interesting little spot. And it might be the most difficult spot to kind of play in tune. Obviously, it can always help to do some sliding with your finger because it can be very forgiving. Lots of vibrato could be very forgiving in that spot as well. But anyway, have fun with all of those. And again, I would just pepper in a few little double stops as I go along. In the second part of the tune, and this is where, like I say, I think I get to be Peter Pan for the second part because it has a little flipping going on, as if we're Mary Martin and we're Peter Pan and we're Scottish. And so, yeah, it changes the animal it is. It's been a very solid and languid 3/4 tune till this point. So let me play a little bit of the second part and see if there's anything else there to mention to you. But I think it's pretty easy to play this, and I'll just play it at a nice slow tempo. I always thought that when I went there that I got back to something that was approaching the feel of the first part. Ba-da-dum, dee-dee-da-da-da-dum. And then I go back a little bit to the flitting again. And obviously I've gone back to kind of from the first part, and then the ending is from the first part. So again, if I'm going back into the first part, I might color it a little bit more with double stops. And so if I'm ending the second part, of course my bow is just on single strings all the way along there, and if I come into the first part, I might go. If I can stay in tune. And then one of my favorite chords.